Usman, the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, he talks about the fact that he's lapping the field. The guy who gave him his best fight was Colby Covington. This is the rematch. It's tomorrow night at the Garden. Why should people be interested in this from your point of view?
Well, this is the fight that I've been waiting for. I mean, the first one was one of the best fights that I've ever seen. And, you know, there's no doubt Colby Covington is... I had that fight even going into the 5th round, and then Usman finished him in the 5th. So it just, there's no way this fight isn't incredible. And this is going to be the fight that is going to finally give Usman the credit that he deserves. How about this? He's on a 14-fight win streak, right?
It's almost impossible in the UFC.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible.
He's the only one that's ever done it. Right. 14-fight win streak. He's never been taken down. He's never been put on his back. And Colby Covington, who really hasn't fought a lot in the UFC, has the 2nd most takedowns in UFC history. So I just, stylistically, this fight's incredible. The first fight was unbelievable, which tells you the second fight should be too, unless Usman has gone to that next level. Because I truly believe that by the time Usman is done, he will be considered the GOAT.
Yeah, it's possible, right? I mean, it's possible. When these wrestlers, when someone with a BJJ or wrestling background learns how to strike eventually, it's just brutal. Like, what do you do? And Covington is a good self-promoter and pot stirrer and is, but I get the feeling like Usman has also gotten under his skin leading up to this fight. What does Covington have to do to compete with Usman, you think?
Yeah, you know, Colby's one of those guys that's really hard to figure out. You know, if you think about what Usman did to him in the 5th round, that has to be in his head somewhere. But Colby Covington is a tough, durable guy whose striking and wrestling makes him a serious problem. And he hit Usman with some big shots.
And more of them than he'd ever been hit with before or since, really.
But I think also Usman striking has gotten a lot better since their first fight. I mean, he just knocked out Masvidal.
By the way, knocked out Masvidal basically in a boxing match. Like, if Masvidal can't stand up with Usman, that's a problem.
You're
that's
right.
not supposed to be.
And what you were saying is, you said when you take these guys with that type of wrestling pedigree and they learn how to strike, he didn't just learn how to strike. He's got real knockout power in both hands. So, I mean, I just think Usman is at a whole nother level. But we're going to find out tomorrow night. That's what makes this thing so fun.
And a lot of guys can strike who are MMA artists, right? But the guys who can strike and take their head offline, and it becomes muscle memory in terms of the way they're avoiding punches, and Usman is starting to inch in that direction, too. That's why when he talks about, I'm now lapping these guys, I've beaten all these guys, I'm going to beat them all again now, to capture the public's imagination, people like me are starting to think, would Khabib come out of retirement? Would would Usman move up to fight Adesanya? And I mentioned that he was sitting in this chair a couple days ago, and I mentioned both those names to him. He said, Adesanya, if they come at us with $100 million, maybe we could do it. And he didn't answer the Nurmagomedov question. I get Khabib is retired. But
they're friends.
And they're friends. Right, everyone's friends. And he brings up boxing Canelo because there's a big payday there. What are your thoughts about the event that could capture the public's imagination if Usman beats Covington?
Trust me when I tell you that Khabib is retired. He's not coming out. So what's the point in saying, oh, yeah, I'd fight Khabib when he's your friend and you know he's already retired, right? Number one. Number two, the real question right now is, and we're going to find out, Hamzat Chimaev. Who has gone on this tear, you know, ripping through people. He's got more fights and more fight bonuses than he's been struck in the UFC.
Right, it's insane.
This guy is a rocket ship right now. He gets a fight in the top 5. You start wondering, Hamzat Chimaev versus Usman is a serious.
There's always another guy.
There's always another guy.
Listen, I believe everyone in MMA is contractually obligated to ask everyone in every interview, if it's on TV, about Conor McGregor, right? Like, you have to ask about Conor McGregor. Dana, real quick about Conor. My thought is, Dana, I know everyone in the top 15 is tough. We've talked about this. You can lose to anyone. You might as well go for the big guys. But he hasn't won in a while. Jose Aldo, some smaller striker. Is there any thought to putting him in a fight where going in, you're like, maybe he's the favorite in this fight tonight?
Well, he and Aldo are nowhere near the same weight class now.
Yeah, well, that's another reason, Dave.
You know, and he's looking at fighting at, you know, he's talking about, you know, not only 55, but 70 and stuff like that. Conor McGregor's a fighter.
Aldo moved down and McGregor moved up. Yeah.
Yeah, and Conor McGregor's the type of guy that's not like, oh, give me number 17. He's like calling out Usman and guys like that. That's just the way the guy's wired and built. And the tough fight, the tough. I just had an interview the other day where the kid was coming after me saying that I'm throwing Nate Diaz to the wolves if I have him fight Hamzat Chimaev, right? He wanted to fight Usman. That's throwing you to the wolves. Throwing you to the wolves. Hamzat Chimaev has all these high expectations of what he could possibly achieve, right? Usman has achieved them. Usman is the world champion. Nate Diaz wanted to fight Kamaru Usman, but you don't want to fight Hamzat Chimaev, who has 4 fights in the UFC?
Well, I mean, it's always a risk-reward thing, right? Like the reward you get, not just monetarily, but in terms of credit for beating Usman. When Chimaev, you're also taking a huge risk.
Well, people are saying, I'm throwing him to the wolves if he fights Hamzat Chimaev. That goes to show what people think of Hamzat.
Oh, that's what the UFC does. They throw people to the wolves. That's why people like the fights.
That would be a massive fight that people would be interested in. It's a huge blockbuster fight.
There's a wolf fight tomorrow between 2 wolves at Madison Square Garden for the welterweight championship. A rematch. You don't want to miss it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.